What's up, YouTube? Zachary Michaels here. I'm an actor, and this is An Actor Reacts. Today, we'll be reacting to Daydream, the fifth studio album by Mariah Carey. Let's get into it. Before we get started, if you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Daydream is the fifth studio album by Mariah Carey, released on October 3rd, 1995. With Daydream, she took more creative control over the album's musical direction and composition, leaning more towards R&B and hip hop. Mariah again also co-wrote and produced a majority of the project with a variety of artists, including her longtime collaborator Walter Afanasieff, Babyface, and for the first time, Jermaine Dupri, who would become one of her future frequent collaborators. 6 singles were released from the album: Fantasy, One Sweet Day, Open Arms, Always Be My Baby, Forever, and Underneath the Stars, most of which were both domestic and international successes. Jointly, the singles from Daydream spent a combined 6 months at the top of the Hot 100. The lead single, Fantasy, became only the second song in Billboard history and the first by a female artist to debut at #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, where it stayed for 8 weeks. Mariah worked with producer Puff Daddy to create the Bad Boy remix of Fantasy, which featured rapper O.D.B. The remix has been credited for introducing R&B and hip hop collaborations into the mainstream and for popularizing rap as a featuring act. Contributing to over half the sales of Fantasy, the Bad Boy remix helped the single become the second best-selling song of 1995 in the US. The second single, One Sweet Day, with Boyz II Men, who were featured on the song and contributed to the song's concept and lyrics, topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 16 weeks. The song became the longest-running #1 single in Billboard's history, holding the record for 23 years. In the US, Daydream debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 224,000 copies sold in its opening week, and eventually becoming Mariah's second album to be certified diamond in the country. The project became Mariah's best-reviewed album to that point and an international commercial success, debuting at #1 in 9 different countries and in the top 5 in almost every major music market. It was nominated for 6 Grammy Awards at the 30th annual ceremony, but in a huge upset, both Mariah and the album were completely shut out. Daydream, though, remains one of the best-selling albums of all time, with more than 20 million copies sold worldwide. Oh my gosh, Mariah was accomplishing huge things. First off, happy belated birthday, Mariah. I haven't reacted to a Mariah project in a while, so I thought celebrating her birthday would be the perfect time to get back into her albums, even though I'm a little bit late. I'm excited to get into this project though, because I wasn't the hugest fan of Music Box. I really loved Merry Christmas though, but with Daydream, the R&B Hip Hop Mariah, that's more the Mariah that I'm used to, that I'm more familiar with, so I think I'm really gonna enjoy this project. But anyway, let's just get right into it. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Not sure if I know this one. She looks beautiful. Like the mood. Oh, it does feel familiar. Oh, the kind of like that feel like real lowrider 90s. Hey, I like it. Oh, this part, I know this part. Okay, I know the chorus. I love that funk synth in there. I don't know if it's a synth, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Hey. She knows how to make a feel-good song for sure. This is her really becoming Mariah. Hair straight, she got on a little tank top, shorts. Like that. Yeah, she looks beautiful. Hey, hey, hey. This reminds me of the opening of Music Box too. Like from the dancers at least. I love that. That was a great way to start off this album. Even like the transition at the beginning, the like "Welcome to the fantasy," and then we go into the like dreamy kind of euphoric state, and then transition to just the really fun up tempo track. Mariah's really great at one picking opening tracks, but then making just feel good music like this song or Dream Lover from Music Box or Emotions, which I love. Like she's really great at capturing that carefree, roll the windows down, hair blowing through the wind, just fun time. And also with like a nostalgic factor sprinkled in there too. Like I don't know if I'm just saying that because it's like 90s R&B, but it gives me like this nostalgic feeling, and I'm not even like super familiar with this track. Like I only kind of recognize the chorus, but it gave me that feeling that I have when I'm reminiscing on something that I remember from the past. So I just love that she's able to capture that so well in the music and in the music video as well. Like the super simple music video, but you don't need something super elaborate for a song like this, because it's just really enjoyable seeing her having fun and like that little girl just like being full of life and just being herself. And like I said, it does kind of feel like Mariah's fully coming into her own with the music. And then in the video, she's got on the short shorts, the crop top, she got the straight hair, just Mariah being herself and coming into her own. Really love the production. Again, that feel good quality to it. The more R&B Mariah, which I love. And then I do feel the hip hop elements in there as well, like the kind of lowrider type sound. I kept calling it synth. I don't know if it's actually like synth or like piano, whatever that is. If you know, let me know. I pointed it out many times during the song reaction, but I love that kind of hip hop element sprinkled in there as well. I know the Bad Boy remix is a little more hip hop than this one, so I'm excited to get into that one because we're gonna listen to that version as well. So let's get into it.
Keeping it real, my
It's on the original one, but I like this beat because this was like the bridge of the original, wasn't it? Hey. Hey. Okay, the fantasy remix. I like this version too. I think they both have different strengths, but both of them are really good. Like the original, I again just love how that carefree and just sweet and nostalgic that it feels. And I think I prefer the chorus on the original because I'm pretty sure it's the choruses are different on it too. But I think I love the chorus on the original. But then with this one, I do love like that bass in there with in the like the more hip hop flavor of it. I thought O.D.B was a nice addition for like character that it added to the song. Like I said, during his verse didn't necessarily blow me away because he wasn't really saying much of anything. But you know, he's got a great like voice, like his the how he sounds is really good, so that added a lot of character and just like flavor to the track. And then you know, I get on Diddy about talking on tracks and stuff, but I do like his little like come ons and like what we going, like you know, he adds a little something to it as well. So I think they both have different strengths, but I do really enjoy both. Really good song. Again, love the video, love the little girl, love the dancers. They getting down with the like butterfly, right? And I just love too also how it feels like, even though this is what 95, it feels like even more throwback to like the 80s kind of too. Like I get an 80s kind of disco, or not disco, but like that 80s kind of sound. It makes me think of that while I'm hearing this too. So yeah, I think that's all I got on Fantasy and the Fantasy remix. So let's go on to the second track. Oh, love the vibe. Feels jazzy slash churchy. That wow, wow. I've never heard this, but you know, that felt like the right nice lyric. Yeah. Hey, that's smooth R&B. Love the production on this one. Tweety Bird back there. Is that a wedding dress? She looked good. I love when they have like crackles at the end of songs. Underneath the Stars. Mariah is definitely in her R&B bag on this album so far. I think my favorite part of this track was the production. It was just so smooth. Like it felt kind of like, you know, smooth R&B type song mixed with like modern jazz and like some like late night quiet storm vibes sprinkled in there. It just all came together so well, and I love those guitar sounds, like the wow, wow. Like anytime I hear that, I'm just like, ah, yeah, like just sit back and vibe. I love the vibes of this song, and then that instrumental with her vocals kind of floating over the top, and you know, Tweety Bird back there sprinkled in the background, just really came together really nicely, this whole song and the vibe of it. Shout out to the video too. It wasn't like anything like super crazy, but I know that that video came out like in 2020 because she had like filmed it and didn't release it until like the MC30 stuff. So I just think that's really cool. But overall, really smooth track that I just love the vibe of. Now let's go on to my song, One Sweet Day. Such a classic.
Sorry, but I never told you all I wanted to say.
Everything about this song just so immaculate.
Cause you float away, so far away. Never had I imagined you kiss me.
The little clips in her hair. She's so cute.
And I know you're shining down on me from heaven. And I know eventually we'll be together. One sweet day. I never showed you.
I never showed you.
I took your presence for granted.
I'm gonna kill this when I play Sean in the movie. Yes. Come on, Wanye. Too good. One Sweet Day. What can I even say about this track? It is just so good. Like better than good, like great. This could very well be like a perfect song. The vocals, you got Mariah Carey. You got Boyz II Men, like one of the best vocal groups ever. Like those two coming together, like the vocals are on another level. And I love too how they all got to shine on this song. Like Michael doing his spoken word, Nate leads a song, then Sean, him and Mariah coming together, and then Mariah and Wanye doing the theatric. Like everybody got their fair share on this song, and it did so well. And then the lyrics, like that is so real and relatable and just honest. Like that's why this song connected with so many people, because everybody has felt that feeling. What else? The instrumental, I love just how the words aren't coming to me, but it's just so, I want to say smooth, but smooth isn't the word that I'm looking for. Like Underneath the Stars was smooth. This is like calming and just, yeah, like you breathe it in, and like the doom, doom, like it's just so good on every front. Even the video is so simple, but captures that like feeling of, like it's such a simple song that it needs a video like this. Like I generally prefer music videos that have like a storyline or da 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 da. But with this, I feel like that would have been weird if it had like a, just like them recording it and like them having kind of a sweet day, you know? I don't know. It just, perfect song. I love Boyz II Men. I love Mariah. Like, there's a reason why this was the longest #1 song for so long. And, no offense to like Old Town Road, because I was a fan of that song, but this is definitely a better song. Like, I don't even think that's arguable. I don't think anybody would say that, like, Old Town Road was a better song than One Sweet Day. But props to Lil Nas X. But, this, like, both Boyz II Men and Mariah could live off of this one song alone and would be remembered for generations to come. I mean, they both have multiple songs like that where off of those ones. But, this one especially, just really, really great. I don't even know if I captured how great this song is, but let's move on. Like that. This one's a cover, right? She does well with these like soft rock ballads. Voice so look at that crowd, man. I'm not crazy about that one. Not because it's bad. Like, it's Mariah. She sounds like an angel on it. And, like, something that crossed my mind while I was listening to it was like, wow, she could have had, like, a career as a, like, soft rock kind of balladeer. Because her voice works in that realm so well. But I think I'm just not crazy about it on this album. I think this song could have been really good on like Music Box because that's kind of how that album was constructed. And she had what's that song? I think it was Without You. That was another like soft rock kind of cover, and I love that. That was one of my favorites on Music Box. So I feel like this song would have worked really well on that album. But for Daydream, at least so far, it doesn't feel like R&B enough for me. Like it feels kind of out of place. Like the last track, One Sweet Day, and the next track is Always Be My Baby. And those two songs are like, R&B staples. So that in the middle have this like kind of soft rock thing. I don't know, it just kind of threw me off. But she sounded good nonetheless. And like I said, she could have had a career of singing a bunch of soft rock type songs. But yeah, I think that's all I got on this one. Not bad, but definitely not going to be in my top 3. So let's go on to Always Be My Baby. Hey, love that guitar. Do-do-do, down. Hey! In her R&B bag. Never seen this video. And she looks beautiful. Her catalog is so strong, man. I love the backgrounds on this song too. And the kind of like chant-like feel of the chorus. Oh. Okay. I don't know the bridge. Come up. Come up. It's got that same kind of carefree, nostalgic feel too. And really carefree, because she like, go on. No. Always Be My Baby. Too good, man. Like an R&B classic. Like these are the songs that I knew growing up before I even knew who Mariah Carey was. It's just so catchy, and like I love the keyboard throughout and like the snaps of the song. Shout out to Jermaine Dupri on the production, killed it, as well as Mariah, because I know she helped produce it. But like it just so good, and it again captures that feeling of like nostalgia and fun and carefree, kind of what I was saying with Fantasy. Even though Fantasy is a more like upbeat, carefree, like hair blown in the wind, this is still kind of carefree, but a little more chill. Like you listen to Fantasy during the day while you partying, and then Always Be My Baby at night while you like relaxing a little more. Just really, really good. And what's funny is that it feels so carefree, but the lyrics are like kind of the opposite. Like she's being dumped in this song, but she has the like a positive outlook, I guess, because like, you know, go. I'm not gonna stop you, but you know, you can't get rid of me. Like you gonna be coming back because our bond is that strong. So I like the kind of contrast between the feeling of the song and then what she's actually singing about. But just really good. Love the confidence. Love the vocals. Like I love the backgrounds in there. Just everything about this song. An R&B classic. And then I saw that there's also a remix to this, which I've never heard, with the Brat and Xscape. So let's get into that. Okay. Very different right off the bat. Oh. Electric guitar. Shout out to Xscape. Hey, this one real funky. Hey. I like that look on her. She looks cute. Hey. This one real funky smooth. Love the drums on this. Hey! Layers, layers. Inevitably, you'll be back again. Love the confidence. This one feels like 90s hip hop mixed with like 70s funk soul. I gotta get into some more Xscape and the Brat. Hey, hey, hey. Come on.
It's evident the residents of so dead. Who rocks your music box and break down your structure? You fantasize as you visualize me as your dream lover. But your emotions
oh, dream lover.
Your daydream. You heard the bees, then you know that bees making G's.
Hey.
Xscape with Mariah carrying me to the back. So what I do is keep it true and real.
Always Be My Baby, Mr. Dupri's mix or whatever it's called, it almost feels like a completely different song. And that's not a bad thing because I like that song too. It just like the original is a little more, like I was saying, smooth, a little more carefree, like Summer. This one's a lot more hard hitting, especially with the drums. Love that boom in there. Love the drums. Shout out to Jermaine for putting his other acts on, his social deaf acts. He got Xscape and the Brat in this song with like Mariah Carey, who huge at this point. So they were a great addition to the song. Xscape on the backgrounds. I really like the Brat's verse. Just how when I reacted to the Brat, like I love her swag and her style. I got to get into some more of her and Xscape because they both are really good. But love the production on this. It, like I said during, it feels like kind of 70s funky soul music mixed with 90s hip hop. And those are two things that in reacting to Mariah I haven't really heard yet. So I love those two different sounds coming together for this really great track. Again, almost feels like a completely different song if it weren't for the lyrics. Just really good. And of course, Mariah sounded great. Yeah, I don't know. Just really, 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 really good. Both versions of Always Be My Baby. Yeah, that's all I got on it. So let's go on to the next track. Okay, pulling it back a little.
Once I was a prisoner, lost inside myself.
Feels a little gospel.
Wandering through
Is that an organ back there?
misery, but now I am free.
Yeah.
You gave me a breath of life. Out in my eyes,
Yes, so full.
with a sweet surrender.
That's Mariah with herself, right? Now y'all know I love Mariah when she's in a more like gospel element. This song didn't necessarily feel like an outright gospel song, like it could have been about anyone, but it's like heavily, heavily leaning into a gospel sound. So I love Mariah with that organ and the layered kind of choir background vocals of hers. And just, you know, her voice, like the soul and the kind of grit really comes out when she's in a more gospel element. This song isn't going to be like in my top, but I did still really enjoy it. And I like the lyrics, especially because I know, like, from what I've read and what I've seen her say in interviews, like, around this time. Well, I don't know exactly around this time, but I know, like, the music box-esque era, she was saying that she felt really trapped and stuff. So I don't know if she's actually free at this point by the Daydream album, but maybe it's like a hopeful future she's dreaming of, like, the freeness that is to come. But really good song, great lyrics, and again, I just love Mariah and that gospel element. So let's go on to the next track. quicker transition at the beginning.
Gazed into me, transcending space and time, and I was rendered stay.
This gives me like a 50s doo-wop feel.
As I stood there beside, I said,
Hey, like that.
I could see you and no one else. When I saw you, when I saw
Hey, this makes me think of like Brian McKnight, maybe? Hey, love the production on this one. This makes me think of another song, the chorus. I can't put my finger on it though. Dun, dun. One Moment in Time. It makes me think of that song by Whitney. The chorus. Hey. Soaring. This is a really interesting track. Like for starters, this is another song that kind of reminded me of Music Box, like big 90s power ballad type song, but it also mixes in like R&B, like slow jams, like I mentioned, like Brian McKnight in there, as well as kind of like 50s doo-wop music, like the music that would play like in a diner or something back then. And it was just like a really interesting progression as the different sounds were coming in and they were all mixing together. Like when it started off, I was like, okay, we got a simple piano ballad. And that first verse, I can't explain exactly why, but it just made me feel like a 50s doo-wop. Maybe it was just the simplicity of Mariah and the piano and the way that she was singing and maybe the melody. And I'm not quite sure, but it gave me 50s vibes. And then transitioning when the drums and the snaps and stuff came in, got very much R&B slow jam. And then we get to the chorus, definitely feels like big pop power ballad. That was kind of the overarching feeling of the song, but especially on the chorus. And that's when I was like, this reminds me of One Moment in Time by Whitney, because that's for sure a big pop power ballad, the One Moment in Time. And the chorus of this has a similar like melody, I guess, or like the like When I Saw You Do, like they definitely are reminiscent of one another. But all that being said, I enjoyed it because the progression of the song was so interesting, and I liked the way it started off simple with just the piano, and then would build, and then adding in the percussion and stuff, and build and build and build, and then come back down, and then go back up. So I just really liked the journey of the track. Mariah sounded great over it, as per usual. Just really good. I think actually the chorus was probably my favorite part because the way that she was singing on it, the build of it all, was just really kind of satisfying. Yeah, but I think that's all I got on When I Saw You. A really interesting mix of three kind of distinct sounds. So let's go on to the next track. Okay, now, like that bass, she coming in deep. This definitely feels hip hop. Okay.
words of fairy tale that I long to hear.
Come on.
I gave you my body and soul.
I gave you my
and
body.
you took control. You told
Oh, backgrounds.
me till I
Is this a Jermaine track? Oh, does it got a sample in there or something?
Now it's all so far away. Take me back.
This reminds me of like the Moesha theme song. I like her vocal approach on this song, the kind of more relaxed, like, hey. Hey. It is Jermaine and Mariah. Mo to the E to the, like it feels so. Hey. Hey. Long ago. I really like this one. First off, especially that production. Like, I knew immediately that this had to be like Jermaine and Mariah. It just felt, there was just something about it that I was like, yeah, I think this is them. Looked up the credits, it's them. Really, really great production. I love how hip hop it was. Like with the drums and stuff, especially, and like that like doom doom sound in the back felt real like 90s hip hop. And it reminded me of like the Moesha theme song too. But that's just a random thought. But really loved the production. And then I also really loved Mariah on this vocally. It wasn't like a big power ballad that she was doing much crazy. Like she had a few moments where she showed off the voice. But I really loved how laid back her delivery was on this track. It was almost kind of like smooth, jazzy, like the way like the way she was just like kind of, it was just like gliding, like just words, everything was connected as they were coming out. And then I really loved too those moments when she would be like, like it was just really, I loved her vocal approach to this song. I thought it worked so well with the like kind of smooth hip hop beat. With the the sirens and stuff back there, just really good on all fronts. Loved the production, and then loved Mariah's vocal approach throughout, and the way that she was playing with a more jazzy delivery. Yeah, and her swagger really shined through in that as well. But okay, I think that's all I got on this track, so let's go on to the next one. Hey. Come on. Backgrounds on this are immaculate. And ad-libs and stuff. She always buries the whistle notes in the background as she fades out. Melt away. Again, Mariah is really in that like '90s R&B bag on this album. This was very smooth, late night R&B kind of baby making music esque. You can definitely tell that Babyface had a hand in this song because it feels very up his lane. So shout out to him, and shout out to Mariah as well because on Tidal she's listed as the sole producer of this track, and the production honestly was probably my favorite part, like that. Like it was just so smooth and catchy and like, hey, come on, it had that feeling so well, and she rode the beat so well, as well. But yeah, I don't think this is gonna be one of my top tracks, but I really did enjoy it, and again, it just fits in the album so well because it's just that R&B feeling is just like unmatched. I love R&B music, man. But anyway, that's all I got on this one. So let's go on to Forever. Tokyo Dome. Is this one a cover too? This one feels very 50s doo-wop as well. Oh no, it says it was written by Mariah. Oh, I love the... Okay, more like doo-wop soul. Oh. Yeah. She was tapping into that on purpose. Now she got the shoe doo-wops in the back. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. At first, I wasn't fully on board with this track, but by the end, she pulled me in. Like those vocals, this song was more of a vocal showcase than anything. Like her voice soared on this track. Like the like that's melisma, right? Like when she was singing one word and going through an entire scale, the way she was like down to the bit, like she did that many times in this song, and I loved it every single time. And the big, like those big notes, how open her voice was, like very loved her vocally on this track. And then I enjoyed the production as well. I think that's what kind of threw me off at the beginning, because I was like, this isn't '90s R&B. This is feels doo-woppy, which like that's a conversation for another time. How well she's able to adapt to other sounds and like emulate them, because like I thought at the beginning it was a cover, and then I went and looked and it was like Walter Afanasieff and Mariah Carey are the only people listed, so this is an original track, but it taps so well into that 50s doo-wop sound. And then by the end, I was really like rocking with the production, especially like with the background singers and the like the doo-wops and stuff. It came together really well. Really great again vocally, and I enjoyed the production of this track. There was something else I wanted to say. Love the production, love the vocals. I don't know. I lost it, but I took so much time trying to remember it that I might remember while I'm editing. So I'll just put it at the bottom of the screen. But for now, let's just go on to the next track.
In my daydream, every night you creep into my dreams. It's so real. In my daydream, it's just so sweet. It is so sweet. In my daydream.
Hey, hey. Hey. Love this. The instrumentation. Okay, Daydream Interlude Fantasy Suite dub mix. Now, I don't know if there's like an original version of this because this is the only version of it that's listed on title. But regardless, I really enjoyed it. Now, this isn't technically like an R&B song, very much like dance music. But I think that works really well that it doesn't kind of sound like the rest of the album because it's the daydream, you know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be different because it's not like the rest of the album could maybe be like life, and then this is like the daydream. So I like that it's kind of so different than the rest of the album. And then I just really enjoyed it. Like dance music is fun, and this was a really fun track. Love the production, the instrumentation especially. Like there were so many different like instruments used throughout, and it was just like hey, you know, just really fun track, and I think it works really well to convey the daydream element of it. I also, something that I haven't really mentioned throughout is how I think a lot of the songs also have a daydream element. Like they just feel very like dreamy. So I think she's incorporating the album title really well and throughout the album. Um, just even like the last song, Forever, it's it's it just has a like kind of a dreamy element to it, like with the 50s do up like ah da da da, and or like what was the first like fantasy, like they all have a certain element of like light and dreaminess, which I just is a random thought that I could have said in my final thoughts at the end, and I probably will again. But anyway, I've talked long enough, so let's go on to the final track of the album, Looking In. I'm liking it already. Very dark, menacing.
You look at me and see the girl, but don't believe that's all there is to see. You'll never know the real me.
Love how she's using her voice. You'll never know the real me. Oh,
She smiles through
very cinematic and dark.
in a harbor that she waits in insecurity. Don't say she takes it all for granted.
This feels very autobiographical.
I'm well aware of all I have. Please understand. It seems as though I've always been somebody outside of
Oh,
love. But they can't take my heart from me. They'll never know the real
oh. She did that. I love this track. Y'all know I love dark, moody music, and this song was that from the moment it started. Like that, the menacing piano and just the doom, the feel of doom and dread that the song gave me right off the bat pulled me in. And then the way she was singing on it, her voice just felt so dark and deep and just it was so good. I loved every second of it, even though it's kind of a really sad song, but really raw and beautiful and honest. And kind of with the last song, the Daydream Interlude, I was saying how all the songs on the album felt like they kind of had a dreamy element to it. This song had none of that, and it leads me to kind of think that like that was on purpose. Like she's saying like, this whole album other than this song was a daydream, like the happy-go-lucky, always be my baby, like sweet, sweet fantasy, all that happiness that you were hearing was just a daydream. And then the Daydream Interlude is like the coming out of that. And now with this track, we're getting into the reality of how she was feeling at the time in the reality of her life. So I just really like that as far as album progression goes. And then this song, the vocals, how dark it was, the moodiness, piano led with the orchestration coming in at those really impactful moments. Just really amazing track. Again, super sad that she was feeling that way, but I love how just honest and raw, and again, how dark and moody it is. Yeah, I think that's all I got on this track. And that's the final track on the album. So let's get into my final thoughts, and I'll tell you my top 3 tracks and what I rate this project. Daydream. Shout out to Mariah, man. Like, first off, just let me say, like, Mariah's catalog of music is so strong. Literally one of the best catalogs. And I'd said at the beginning that I thought I was really gonna enjoy this album because it was right up my alley. The more Mariah that I'm used to, that I know, and I was right. I really enjoyed this project. Now, initially, when I was like writing down my thoughts, I was like, this is my favorite Mariah project that I've reviewed so far. But then I was like, hold up. I did really enjoy her debut album, but it's like I like the two of those for different reasons. Like, I really enjoyed her debut because it was so versatile and it was like kind of eclectic and showed her range and all the different things that she can do. And I thought that that was really smart for like your debut project, showing like, hey, I'm not just this, I can do this, 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 and this. So I really love that for that. But with this one, y'all know I love R&B music, and she is in that R&B bag this entire album, and I loved it. Like, I love R&B Mariah. Like, the production on this was immaculate. Every song, I was like, oh, like everything that goes into them. Oh, and shout out to Jermaine Dupri. I liked his little contribution to this project as well. And it's cool to see the beginnings of their relationship in music, because when they come together, I do think the two of them make really good music. Really, really great production. Vocally, I loved, like, Mariah is always killing it vocal wise, but this, there's just something with her voice in R&B music, and the way that her voice and the production pairs up is so nice. So I love the production on it, the vocals, just the overall flavor that the album had. And for the most part, I think that the album itself flowed really well. I thought it was super cohesive. Now, there were a few outliers, like one or two songs that I didn't quite think should have been on this album. But for the most part, everything worked together really well. And like I mentioned during the Daydream interlude, I thought something that I noticed throughout that I wasn't really mentioning much was how kind of dreamy a lot of the songs was. Like, they had this element. Like, I thought that the title Daydream was a really good title for this album, because all of the songs had an element of, like, a fantasy or dreams, or just kind of something, like, they had a certain quality that was like this isn't real almost. And then we had that throughout the album, those feelings, and then with the final song that's stripped away, and we get into the real world, and her saying, I'm sad, I'm alone, I'm not happy, like, all this was just a daydream and this is my reality. So I really like the construction of this project, and the way that I was feeling that through every song, and then at the end it's like, oh, but this is the reality. So I thought that was really cool. Now, I do have a few minor critiques. One, like I mentioned, I think one or two songs didn't quite fit in to this project. And then my other one, I do generally think that the singles from this project were stronger songs than the album tracks. Not that they were bad, the album tracks were good too, but the singles were like next level, which maybe isn't a bad thing, but I'm somebody who I generally, when I listen to albums, end up preferring the album tracks. But with this one, it was different. I think the singles more, I was like, okay, yeah, these are great. But it's hard because, like I said, Mariah's got a strong catalog. Like, her singles are mega hits. So, like, maybe that was part of it too, because I'm more familiar with these singles, so I already went in kind of loving them. But that's all I got for Daydream. Mariah really did her thing, and again, this album is for sure in the top 2 of Mariah albums that I've reacted to so far. But now let's get into my favorite tracks. First up, my honorable mentions. I've got Fantasy, the original version, not the remix. The remix is cool too, but I think I just prefer the original version of it a little bit more. And then my second one is Long Ago. Love Jermaine and the hip hop element of that track. Now let's get into my top 3. Coming in at number 3, I got Looking In. This is for sure my favorite album track on this, for all the reasons that I just kind of mentioned. Like, I love how different it is from the rest of the album, but still like fitting in, because it doesn't have any of that dreaminess quality, and it just feels raw and real and honest. And I love that she was able to put all that into the music. And then y'all know I love moody, dark songs, and this was that. Love the mostly piano led and how menacing it was, and her voice was dark on it. Everything came together so well. It felt like a kind of cinematic experience on this one track. Really, really great one. My number 2 is Always Be My Baby, both the original version and the remix. Now, like I said, it felt like almost 2 different songs, but both of them were great. Like, the original, love the piano and the guitar, and just how carefree the song feels, even though it's like the production is kind of contrasting to the lyrics. Love that. And then with the remix, I loved how different it was, because it was like, wow, like it was a real remix. Like they just took the lyrics and started from scratch. Love the addition of the Brat and Xscape. Shout out to Jermaine again for putting on his artist on a song with, one of the biggest artists, especially in '95. Just both came together really good. One's more hip hop, which I could get down to, and then one's just more carefree R&B fun. Really great track, both of them again. And then my number one is easily One Sweet Day. Like I said in my reaction to that one, this song could very well be like a perfect song. Like you got Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey. The vocals alone are enough on this song to like put it into the stratosphere. I also just love how slow and pensive and kind of meaningful every single part of the song feels, because it really takes its time with the vocal delivery and the production and the drums and the synths and the piano throughout this track. Everything just comes together so perfectly. And then I think the song is just so impactful with the lyrics. Like I looked at the YouTube comments just now, and like every single comment almost is talking about how they listen to this song because they either used to sing it with this person and now they're gone and this song hits different in that way, or they heard this song after their loved one passed and it was like, wow, this feel like it's such a universal feeling, that feeling of loss, and like hopefully one day I'll see you again. So when your music can connect with so many people in that way, you have done your job. And this song is just the epitome of that. I think that's all I got on One Sweet Day, though. Quick little recap of my top three. We got number 3, Looking In. Number 2, Always Be My Baby, both the original version and the remix. And then number 1, One Sweet Day with Boyz II Men. Just really great. Now let's get into my rating of this album. For Daydream, I got a 9.25 out of 10. My number 2, I think I'll say, album that I've reacted to from Mariah so far. Love her in her R&B bag. She killed it on this project, and this is the Mariah that I know and love, so I'm excited to get into more of R&B Mariah. Again, my only little small things are, I do think that the singles were far, far stronger than the album tracks, even though, don't get me wrong, the album tracks are far from bad, and I do think a few songs were misplaced on this project, but other than that, I think this is a really impeccable body of work, especially again with the title being Daydream and all of the songs having this kind of dreamy quality to them, and then at the end her revealing like that was the daydream and my reality is I'm sad and alone and kind of miserable, but I appreciate my life at the same time. But anyway, that's all I got on Daydream. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this album. What are your favorite tracks? What do you rate this project? Where does it go in your Mariah ranking of albums? Or maybe I shouldn't ask that yet, because I still got a good bit to go, and I don't want y'all preferences to impact mine. But anyway, leave your thoughts and stuff below in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. One thing that else I forgot to say, again, happy belated birthday, Mariah. I'm going to be like a week late with this video, but I love you. You're great. Hopefully you live on for years and years to come and keep, being an icon. But thanks for stopping by. See y'all next time.